Okay, this is probably the most I don't even know what to say. Most puzzling movie I've ever watched.
Boys and girls of every age, would you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see. It's
Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Halloween Ends. Man, like I said, it's just hard to know what to think about this movie. There's positives, there's negatives, there's somewhat kind of satisfaction with how it ends, and there's just confusing things, which is I don't know. it's it's something. I just don't know where to start with this movie. It's just a direction choice. Very confusing. I mean, this is supposed to be the end of the trilogy, but with how they wrote this movie, it feels like the start of a new one, in my opinion. It's just the weird story direction. Something that you'd see in a previous movie that they should have did, but they never did it. And they just had to do it for this movie where they're supposed to many be focusing on an ending, but instead we kind of get like these two different stories. One is where they're trying to end this trilogy, and the other one is trying, I don't know, it's like it's kind of starting a new one at the same time. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't even know what to say really about talking about spoilers anyway. But still, I'd still be confused with why they've done the movie like this. This is supposed to be the last one, especially for Laurie Strode. Like Jiminy Curtis is basically done as Laurie Strode now. Like this is it for her character, and just the way how they did it, it's satisfying and not satisfying at the same time. It's really weird. Yeah, with how they decided to do this final movie in this trilogy. Yeah, and if you don't know the trilogy, it's because basically the 2018 film was the start of a new trilogy of films. So basically, the first one happened, but all the other sequels never happened. Like Halloween 2, Halloween 3, which I don't even know if I should even say that movie for Michael Myers anyway, because he's not in that movie. But I love that film. I love it. It's like in my top three. It's my third favorite Halloween film. And then there's Halloween 4. That's my favorite Halloween film. Halloween 5, one of my least favorites. Halloween 6, okay. And then H2O, great film. Resurrection was my worst for the longest time until I watched, Halloween Kills. So yeah. And then there's the reboots, but they don't really count because they're completely different, universe in a way. Yeah, it's not really connected because it has a different Laurie Strode and Michael Myers and everything. So yeah, you could say it's a more darker version for Mob Zombie, basically. Yeah. And then there's the one that actually is, what we've been following for like these last three movies from the 2018 film, Halloween Kills, and now Halloween Ends. So those four films from 1, 2018, Kills, and Ends, they're like this trilogy basically that just continue from, where the first film left off. Yeah. And oh, it's hard to describe this trilogy because I'm trying to think of like an MCU trilogy and compare it to that. Maybe like Iron Man, or between Iron Man and the Four, with what I think about the trilogy. And if you know how those trilogies ended, I'd probably say Iron Man. Yeah, yeah, maybe Iron Man, but basically Iron Man or Four. Those trilogies of movies. That's what I'd compare with this, Halloween 2018 trilogy or whatever I should call it. Yeah, because it has its ups and downs. It's just because by the end, you don't know what to think. I mean, the first movie, mwah. The second movie, oh, the worst. And the third movie, you really don't know what to say about it. And that's where Halloween Ends is. It has like a ending, but then mm, it's just you don't know. I mean, Iron Man 3, I was fine with that movie. It was okay. It's just it had one thing that just distracted the entire movie up until its last moments. Yeah. I mean, it started well. It's just when it got to that certain moment, and you know what I'm talking about if you've watched it, it kind of puts the movie in a weird position where you're just like, why? And that's what I get from Halloween Ends. Why? For Ragnarok, what can I say about that? Because that's probably the best out of the four movies, and that's not saying much, sadly. I mean, four's my favorite, but he never had a really good solo film, in my opinion. In my opinion, because the first one, a rocky start, but he seemed like a character I could like eventually. And when the 2012 Avengers movie came out, he became my favorite. And for a lot of people, he became their favorite in 2018 with Infinity War. Yeah. Then 4 2, probably the most boring MCU movie. It was probably the most boring thing you could watch from the MCU until Loki, in my opinion. And it seems like She Hulk has topped Loki in being boring. Yeah. And then there's Thor Ragnarok. It's a good film, but it focuses way too much on comedy. Like that movie has some serious moments, but the comedy puts it down. Yeah, all these things that are happening, and the comedy just ruins it. With this movie, you kind of excited because this is it. This is gonna be the end of this Halloween trilogy. And when you get to a certain point where you're just like, why are they doing this? Why are you doing this storyline? And then by the time you get to the end, you're just like, this should have been the whole movie. Like, why are we just getting this in the last 20 minutes? And I mean, I am going to talk about spoilers. So, in 30 seconds, yeah, I'm going to talk about spoilers for the rest of the review. Because I don't want it to go on for too long. So, yeah. It's a confusing movie. If I was going to rate it, I don't know. It's between 6 or 7. I don't know. Because there is a satisfying ending, but then it's just the other part of the movie. I don't know. It's very it's a very strange movie that they decided to make. It gives you an ending which is good, but yeah, that's all I can say really. It's just it's hard to have a proper thought on this movie with the direction. It's just very confusing. I mean, Halloween 2018, and I know that was a great movie. Halloween Kills, I know that was an awful movie. This one, I don't know, I'm more like confused, and that's maybe because of the direction. Then it also has like an ending, because it gives me what I want, but then majority I'm just like confused why this is happening. And that's it for spoiler free. I'm getting into spoilers now, so I'm going to talk about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time for 6 minutes. I'm going to talk about the rest of the movie, or however long it goes on, but I don't want it to be too long. So yeah, they finally kill Michael Myers, which that's the most satisfying thing, I guess. They finally used their brain and basically destroyed his body. After all these movies, they finally did it. They killed Michael Myers, man. They put his body in like some machine where it just completely destroys it. I was thinking like when Laurie was climbing on the thing, like Michael Myers was gonna drag her down, and then they both died together, kind of like in Halloween 2, from the Rob Zombies Halloween 2. Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna get something like that, but more brutal. Imagine if that's how it ended. Oh God, I'm surprised it didn't end like that. To be honest, like why would she even go up there? Of course, she has to be the last person to get rid of Michael once and for all. But man, I really thought she was like gonna get grabbed by Michael one last time and then she dies. But I guess not. Yeah. They actually gave us a ending where Laurie doesn't die. Like there's a moment where Michael's trying to, strangle Laurie with his last breath. Luckily, the daughter finally comes and helps out the mum. I'm just straight away talking about the ending because that's the thing where I know it's all good. Basically, that's all the good stuff that I wanted for the whole movie. Because I am gonna get to the confusing and bad stuff. Yeah, because most what I'll talk about is confusing. Then the bad stuff, but I can't say I hate this movie like Halloween Kills, because it gives you an ending, which is good. Like, I'm happy we finally got an ending where it's finally all over. They defeated Michael Myers. I mean, they kind of gave like, I don't know, maybe a hint that he could return, but maybe for like a reboot or something. Because this storyline's finished basically. It's all over. Yeah, they defeated Michael, which is good. Finally. You have like a whole crowd, you know, and then they just pick up his body and put it in the machine. Well, Laurie's the one who does the final toss and all that. Like it was a big event because it basically is. This is the first time after all these years from 1978 to now we've actually got a proper ending to Michael Myers. Like he's finally been defeated properly, because the last time we could have got a actual ending of Michael Myers was in two movies. One was, Halloween 2 in 1981, where Michael Myers basically burned to death from the help of Loomis. And that was supposed to be it for Michael Myers. They tried to make a movie afterwards where they'd focus on a different villain, but fans didn't like that, so they brought him back. Yeah. As for, I guess, continuing the story up to a certain point where Laurie Strode finally comes back in H2O, that movie actually gave us an ending where she actually killed Michael Myers. Like, she chopped off his head, because no one's ever thought to, like, try to chop off his head, and to me, that seemed like it was the end of Michael Myers. But then resurrection happened, and you know the rest. Yeah. They've just failed to finally have, like, a proper ending. I mean, I understand why they didn't end it with Halloween 2, because I mean, they basically did, and they could have made more movies afterwards, but the fans wanted Michael Myers back. They loved him so much. And then H2O, like, they could have gave us the ending there and then just did a reboot, but no, they had to give us Resurrection. Yeah, and ruined everything. And now we've got a chance to finally end it again, and they gave us that. And I'm happy. It's just the rest of the movie. Oh, you have to get through the rest of the movie just to finally see that satisfying ending. And that's when I talk about the confusing and the bad stuff. Should I just get the bad stuff out of the way? So the bad stuff, they don't focus on Michael Myers for like over an hour of the movie. Instead, we get this new guy who basically accidentally kills a kid when he's babysitting, and the whole town hates him for it. And it's at the same time where, Halloween Kills happens, and, he's doing all his things, and he gets away and ends up in the sewers, which you've seen in the trailers, if you've watched the trailers or didn't want to see spoilers. Because it gets to a point where, everyone just hates him. And it seems like he would have went prison, but I guess the charges get dropped. I guess he does like work with his dad in like some, car work, because he's good with cars. His mum's a bit weird. That's what I'll say about her. Like, she's so weird in the movie. I know, like, her son's been through a lot, but then the way how she treats him, it makes no sense. And that's all I'm going to say about the mum. Like, she's just a weird character. Yeah. And then the most confusing thing happens where I guess Laurie Strode and, her granddaughter, Alison, because they're the final survivors, because, Laurie Strode's daughter died in the last movie. So she's just looking after the daughter. Like, her daughter's daughter. Yeah. But then, like, just what they do with her character when she meets this guy, and I don't know. You'd think she'd be more smart, same with even Laurie Strode, to not be around someone who's been accused of being a killer. I'm just like, so confusing. And just how her character completely changes, like both characters. Bruh, your daughter died, and you decide to take things easy just because you hadn't seen him for like 4 years. There was a time where you was afraid of him for 40 years, and you was always prepared to finally take him on. But no, you decide to let your guard down, and to the point where you welcome someone who's been accused of being a killer. Like, same with the daughter. Like, it just makes no sense. You're a survivor of Michael Myers, and you decide to welcome someone who's accused of being a killer, even though he might not be a killer, but you still welcomed him into your family and you're fine with being his boyfriend. Like, it just, a lot of that didn't make sense with Laurie and Allison. They didn't feel like their characters. It's like it's like Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills didn't happen, or to a degree it didn't happen. Yeah, the daughter died, but all the stuff like the character development and stuff never happened. So it's like they don't even know who Michael Myers is or something because they're just acting like, yeah, all that stuff never happened. We're just gonna live our lives now. Like the way how they're thinking, it should have been like they should have seen Michael Myers finally die, and then we just see him get back up or something. Like if that happened, that's different. Then I'll accept it. But since Michael Myers literally escaped, you didn't burn him alive like in 2018. He escaped after mowing down hundreds of people, that many people, and you're just chilling. It's confusing, man. And then this storyline that they give us with this character who they welcome into their house and stuff, and Alison becomes, in a relationship with him and all that. It's weird. And they try to do it where it's like Halloween, like the reboot though from Rob Zombie, where they try to give us empathy for the killer, because that's what they tried to do with Michael Myers in that reboot of Rob Zombies. They tried to make us feel bad for Michael Myers because he was getting bullied, just like how this kid is getting bullied. Like, just the way how his family were. I mean, it was maybe the mom that was kind of a weirdo in this movie, but he had basically a redneck family in that reboot. His family wasn't really that bad, and at least his father helped him work and stuff. Like his father was good to him. Yeah, it's just the direction of this movie is really weird. I don't want to talk about it for too long, man. I mean, 20 minutes is the limit for me because I don't want to go any further. Because I want my movies to be like just 15 minutes at the most if it's going to go that far. Yeah. So this is the last time you'll probably see like a 20-minute review. Because I'm just so confused with this movie. Like, the direction's really weird. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I was just like, why are they making this random kid the new Freddy Krueger? Like, why are you doing this? I mean, he's using him so Freddy can basically be in the real world. And that's what happens with this character. He gets used by, Michael Myers, which it's just weird how they did it because what did Michael Myers not have his power to be able to take blows or something after Halloween Kills because he got shot and everything in that movie. And hear that radio guy as well, who later gets killed. And you see in the trailer, man, like this it spoiled the deaths in the trailer. I mean, I'm kind of surprised when they actually show that one of the characters who died in Halloween Kills is still alive, but they kind of got slit and they can't really talk. And then you see like the sister confront Laurie Strode and blaming it on her when she was in hospital. It's just there's a lot of dumb dialogue as well in this movie. It's just it really confused me. Yeah. A lot of things confused me with this movie. All the signs when as the movie went on, Alison didn't notice that he seemed like he was a killer. It's just he was gonna run away together. And Laurie Strode started to notice that in his eyes, it was like looking in Michael Myers' eyes, and she didn't trust him, and she was trying to get the daughter away from him, but she wasn't listening. And then, he basically starts killing the people who treated him badly. Like he kills the bullies, and he ends up accidentally killing his father, but then he kills his mom because he hated his mom because she was weird anyway, the way how she treated him. Yeah. And to the point where she kills Allison's boss. It's really weird. From that moment, she should have realized that. How come my boss is dead? I mean, she probably didn't even knew at the time, and her coworker, who was also weird, talking about the murders, like she didn't even go through all that, like it's just normal. Of course, she's gonna have a problem like talking about that kind of stuff. Same with Laurie. Like when someone mentions Michael Myers, she starts crying. It's because it's like they're trying to be oblivious to what happened to him, and it just makes no sense. Everything they've been through, you lost your daughter, and you're trying to act like nothing ever happened, and Michael Myers is still out there. It's just the characters didn't feel like the characters until the very end, I guess. And when it gets to the final part where, you know, basically the killer of this, the fake killer of this movie, basically get Michael's mask. He fights him for the mask, and then he goes to kill Laurie. Laurie acts like she's gonna kill herself, but it's a trick to bring out the killer. It gets to a point where she's trying to fight the fake killer, and she decides not to kill him, but then he kills himself. Then Allison comes back. She sees that, Laurie's killed him, even though he killed himself. Then she runs away because that was her boyfriend. And then, the real Michael comes, tries to kill her. She nearly dies, but then before then, like, Laurie tried to do like a suicide call, because was that like a, I don't even know, like, why she made it sound like a suicide. So would they come faster or something? I don't know. It's pretty weird, right? Because she doesn't actually kill herself anyway, so it's kind of weird. I don't know. Unless she was actually thinking to do it, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, because she did that to the cop, so he would come, like the one who I guess she has a love interest with throughout this movie, and it seems like by the end they get together, whatever. But I've already told the end anyway, so you know how that goes. They finally defeat Michael Myers, and yeah, that's how it ends. So yeah, what do you guys think of this movie? Because it's satisfying, confusing, and has a lot of bad moments. Not a lot, but because it's not Halloween Kills bad, it's actually an improvement. But the direction of having this other killer and him being more in the movie than Michael Myers, and Michael Myers actually getting to the point where he's working with him while killing like the people that he hates, and Allison's, I guess, people that Allison doesn't like. Because they tried to make it look like Allison was gonna go crazy too, but whatever. Yeah. But I guess by the end, Allison leaves after it's all over. I guess, Laurie Strode gets with the cop, and yeah, that's how it all ends. And you just see the mask on the table, and it just plays Fear the Reaper in it. That awesome song. Seasons don't fear the Reaper. Not better to end it, but I was thinking there was going to be something at the end, but I guess there wasn't. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've gone like 22 minutes now. Like, yeah, this is going to be the last long review I ever do. But yeah, I'm just going to end it here. What do you guys think of the movie? Because I want to know what people think of this movie. Like, I can tell some people are not going to like this movie. It was just okay, but then it also had a satisfying ending, the most satisfying ending for the whole series, out of the whole series, because H2O up to this point had the best ending, in my opinion. When it comes to shocking endings, Halloween 4, like, I was thinking, like, what this movie does, I was thinking that was going to happen in Halloween 5, where Jamie was going to be the killer, but they decided not to do it, and she was just a mute for the whole movie. Yeah. And that was a huge mistake. Then they kill, like, the main character from the fourth movie as well. It's just Halloween 5 made so many mistakes, and it seems like a lot of what I wanted from Halloween 5, they kind of give it to us here, but it doesn't really fit because this is supposed to be the ending of a trilogy, and what they tried to do with this story, it didn't fit in this movie, and it's just confusing they did this. If it was like for a reboot, okay, but for a final story for Laurie Strode, because we're never gonna see Jamie Lee Curtis play this character ever again. It was an odd choice to add this story into like a final movie for Laurie Strode. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Might see her again, but as a different actor, we're never gonna see Jamie Lee Curtis as this character who she's been playing since 1978 ever again. Like, this is it. So yeah, what did you guys think? I'd say it's it's good, but there is flaws. Yeah, there's flaws. It's good, but there's flaws. A lot of flaws. Because the flaw is that this storyline should have been in a different movie, and just the characters not really feeling like the characters, and sometimes dumb dialogue. But they got to a point where it was satisfying. The ending was satisfying. I just wish like they kind of built up the whole movie to that point. Yeah. I'm just ending it now because I don't want to talk any longer. That's it, yeah. So what did you guys think? Comment below on what you thought of the movie when you've watched it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.